Not only do I get to hold a fantastic role at Microsoft as the director of the Future Skills Initiative, I also still teach at the University of Washington. So while I get to live in both of these spaces, and granted there are periods of the year that are incredibly busy, I think it gives me a very privileged perspective on the future of education. And so I talk about what it means for us to prepare students to enter the workforce, because I don't believe that we can divorce our conversations about the future of education from the future of work. I think that for a long time in academia, we could, that learning was one thing and work was another. I don't think that my literature professors, that Isabel Armstrong, was ever truly thinking about how our class discussions on Victorian Romantic poetry and the various papers that I was asked to write were going to prepare me for the job that I currently hold. And arguably they do. But the truth is that we really have never been able to divorce the two. Learning is no longer confined to the school years, and in truth, it never was. But the pace at which technology is transforming the skills needed to be successful, the fact that, according to McKinsey's latest study, 375 million workers are going to need AI skills in the next 6 years, for example, we need to rethink what education looks like. The speed at which the world is changing makes it near impossible to predict exactly what skills our students, the future workers, will require in the next 5 to 10 years, let alone over the span of their entire professional careers. John Seely Brown and Douglas Thomas wrote a book called A New Culture of Learning. And they said that the so-called half-life of a skill is 5 years, which means that much of what any of us here learned 10 years ago is irrelevant. In technical skills, this figure can reduce even further to just 2.5 years. And honestly, given AI, 2.5 years might be pushing it. Even just a year ago, I think there are very few of us who had practice with prompt engineering. And I think that is certainly something that more and more of us are doing each day and each week. What is certain, though, is that the list of capabilities demanded by employers is growing, and nowhere more so than when it comes to the level of digital expertise expected of graduates coming into the workforce. All of our students are not on a path to becoming machine learning engineers or identity access administrators, but equally, anyone running or working in a business needs to understand the potential of AI, data, and cloud computing, and their impact on critical areas such as efficiency, safety, profitability, competitiveness. To me, it's heartbreaking that in a study that was done in the UK called Degree Plus Digital, 80% of employers believe that graduates do not arrive fully equipped with the skills they need to be work ready. And further, 68% of the students didn't understand what skills would be necessary to start their career. So what does that mean for us? And how does this relate to the future of education and digital learning? Well, that means that the change we must undertake must be rapid. The competition that our students are facing for jobs is fierce, and the onus is increasingly falling on higher and further education institutions to step up and close the digital and technical skills gap. So for better or worse, this starts with us. How do you teach? What are the tools that you are using in the classroom? What are the tools that you are asking students to use to produce assignments? We have moved, most of us, from chalkboards and, from chalk and blackboards to PowerPoint slides. We moved from the printed syllabus stapled in 3-hole punch and put into a binder to learning management systems such as Canvas and Blackboard. We've moved from ordering textbooks delivered to the school bookstore to assigning articles in YouTube videos and podcasts. But have we evolved what we ask students to produce and how we expect them to work with one another? I ask these questions because I don't think that transforming education through digital learning is about explicitly teaching students Excel formulas or how to set up a SharePoint site or what it means to work in an asynchronous way. I think it's about ensuring that students have access to the digital technologies and that we begin working with them in these spaces and explicitly ask for work product in different ways than we have in the past. We may assign group assignments, but have we moved to having students set up teams for that group or create different channels for the groups and teams? From there, they can experiment with live collaboration in a Teams meeting, document classification, using AI recaps and meeting summaries, and more. We might ask students to do a SWOT analysis, but do we explicitly ask them to set it up in Whiteboard or Figma so that they are practicing the skills and learning how to perform in a digital tool with live collaboration? We provide students with due dates for assignments, but do we give them access to the tools and make a key part of the assignment breaking down the work into a project plan and managing it with something like Planner or Trello or Jira? I'm being explicit in the examples I'm choosing here, not just because I work for a tech company, but because in taking a look at the LinkedIn 2024 Most In-Demand Skills report that came out 2 weeks ago, 3 of the top 10 skills happen to be communication, teamwork, and project management. So while those may not seem like digital skills, and explicitly they aren't, in so many cases, they are digitally mediated. I don't think that digital learning means sitting down and explicitly teaching students how to use each and every part of an application. I think it means that it's on us to expose them to new ways of working and ensuring that those ways ladder up to what is needed in the workforce. I'm connecting the future of education to the future of work more explicitly than it might make people comfortable here, but I do so because there are real economic implications for countries. Without digital capabilities, young people won't be able to fulfill the roles employers are recruiting for. And this will, in turn, negatively impact both their own individual future and the long-term competitiveness of a country's economy. So what does it take to transform education? In my opinion, there are 3 parts. First and foremost, it begins with a mindset shift, perhaps even an identity shift. Honing workplace productivity skills should become foundational elements of every further or higher education experience. Second, it's about building relationships. Who is working with you on your curriculum? Are you talking to local businesses and industries? Do you know what types of jobs your students are applying for? Do you know what skills the local employers are needing? I want to be very cautious with what I'm saying here because I don't want to be misconstrued. As a faculty member, I don't believe that it is my role to prepare students for a particular job. I don't see this as cogs and widgets, not at all. I believe that we are responsible for producing students who are both broadly educated and digitally and technically skilled. Third, it's time to move fast, and that means moving in parallel. We need to support students immediately at the same time as we are building capabilities in all faculty. So for students, this means in the immediate supporting them in building digital and technical skills, potentially outside of the classroom. It means provisioning digital modules from Microsoft Learning, LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, and other platforms. It means getting them ready for the workplace with industry-recognized professional certifications that students can undertake in addition to their main degree work. For faculty, there is big work to be done. Let me take AI, for example, as that was certainly what was brought up at the start of this conversation. Right now, according to Chegg, 65% of higher education students would like their curriculum to include AI tools that they're going to use in the workplace. And as of October, according to Inside Higher Ed, 49% of students had adopted AI tools. And when I say adopted, that's defined as daily, weekly, or monthly usage of generative AI products. However, as of October, only 22% of faculty members were using AI tools. Granted, which was up from 9% in the spring of 2023. Of the faculty who've started using AI tools, 70% of those regular AI users said they believe that students will need to know how to use generative AI in a professional setting in order to succeed. We need more faculty exploring Copilot and ChatGPT. We need faculty to think differently about the how of their assignments, not the what. As departments look longer term, new curricula resources from industry need to be integrated into every degree program. Faculty members need to understand what tools are being used in industry. And the entirety of the school needs to be able to look beyond its walls to where they want to see their students in 5 years. And they may need to revamp their processes and timelines for program approval and the creation of new degrees. By working together and combining the power of both industry and academia. I believe that we can equip students today with the digital capabilities they need to thrive in whatever career they choose to pursue, and help them develop the skills to be lifelong learners as industries evolve throughout the entirety of their careers.